when it has already been one of those days, and now not only is your refrigerator going in the background really loud, but your husband has left cut up onions on the counter in the kitchen, just right there. Yeah, we're a little teary-eyed today. Shut up. So hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Damn, my voice just cracked there. I swear I'm past puberty and that's only supposed to be for men. But anyway, today's coffee mug was a gift from one of my subscribers. Thank you, Jean. I chose it today because we are trying again the Sips by tea from Kitten tea that I was really, or tea kitten, I should say, that I was really disappointed that didn't work in my last tasting of it. This says it's a pink citrus magic green tea, and as I recall, we weren't getting very many of the flavors, and I thought it might have been because the mug was too big, which is always a possibility. Some of these guys are huge. So I put a tablespoon in the bag and put it in a smaller mug to give it a try. As you can see, she's been steeping a little bit, so she's already got that purple flavor. And if you hold on 1 second, I'm going to get the lemon juice and we're going to see if we can get it to do whatever it is it was supposed to do the last time. Hold on. All right, so got the lemon juice, but first we're going to try it without the lemon juice because, as I recall, I had issues with the flavor both with and without the lemon juice. So we're going to give her a taste. She's been steeping at least 5 minutes. She should be at her full strength, but you know, you never know. Let's give her a taste. And I didn't even put enough sugar in either, so I'm still not impressed. There is just something about this tea. All right, so I'm going to try putting in this lemon juice. Like I said, she's already at full flavor. I'm going to open up the lemon juice. Got our lemon juice. And give it a drop. Nothing. Okay, so whatever is supposed to happen, I suspect the milk is counterbalancing the acidity in the lemon juice, so it's not doing it. But before we try it again, I'm going to add a little bit more sugar and we'll see what happens. At this point, I'm not impressed. I'm very sad about that, but you know, that's the way things go. Anyway, so the first thing I need to mention is I once again played with my lighting. I changed out my light bulb for a sunlight bulb. Hopefully our clarity and color is a little better. We may still have some of that glary stuff going on. I'm not seeing it, but you guys might see it a little bit. I have been told that sometimes it glares in my glasses. Hopefully I've adjusted things so that's not too bad. It is a little higher above me, so the shading, the shadows are going to be what they're going to be. But hopefully with the change in light bulb, we are looking a little better, a little brighter, a little easier to see everything. Can you see everything? Okay. So hopefully that actually works, and if that does, I'll buy those bulbs to replace this one all the time, because seriously, the color, the yellowing that I was seeing was just kind of annoying. Anyway, so today we are doing our 1 month palette as usual, and our 1 month palette for this month was, and I got to bring something up here. There we go. Our 1 month palette for this month was the HipDot Zion, which I've just put upside down. HipDot Zion. This is one of 3 palettes of theirs that I own. You already know that I love my C Note, and I'm pretty happy with the other one that I have. The name escapes me. Rio, I think. But this one is their more neutral and purples palette. I picked it up for the purples. It has some oranges and some browns and things like that. As I've noted in the past, I really, really do like these palettes. This is a $30 palette for 15 shades, so that's not too bad. The packaging is really, it's cardboard, but it's very sturdy, well put together cardboard, and it comes with a stand that makes it so you can use the mirror that is also coming in there. So I really love the packaging. I love the graphics they do on their packaging. All of their packaging has been really nice, and it usually has a sleeve, but I think I got rid of the sleeve just because unsleeving it all the time was just kind of a little bit annoying. But it is $30. It is a permanent part of their collection as far as I know, not limited edition. The color story. So I do like the color story on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think we could have done with one shade lighter, or maybe 2 shades lighter. The only really under the brow color is this one. This color here, this one is called Virgin right here. So this one right here is called Virgin. This is more of a topper, and it's very glittery, and it will get glitter all over your face when you use it, just be aware. But it is a topper. It doesn't actually impart that much color. So when it comes right down to it, we have this one right here that can go under the brow. And I think they could have done something, they could have used one that was a shade lighter, and maybe another one that was not only a shade lighter, but like a lighter version of this one right here, which is Mystery. Yes, Mystery. So I think they could have done with a really pale version of the Mystery, and they could have done with another lighter one of these. Other than those two things, I think the color story in general works for me. Now, there are a couple colors in here I did not use. I have not used this one, which is Maze. I have used Grounded. I have used Grounded and Wanderlust once or twice, but I haven't used Maze. Maze is one of those colors that would just really literally just evaporate on my skin. You wouldn't see it. But the other ones, most of the other ones I have used at least once, and I've used a number of them in today's look that we're going to be doing a little later. So overall, the color story is a beautiful color story. I think it really works. I think it just needed 2 lighter shades, and of course, me being me, I would get rid of Maze and maybe maybe this one, Wanderlust, and just replace those two with those 2 lighter shades. Beyond that, the color story works. This light purple does seem to stick out a little bit, but it pairs well with this darker purple, and so it doesn't really stick out as much as it would appear to. And the whole palette, while neutral, works for me because of the reddish and orangey casts in the shades. So it's one of those rare neutral palettes that actually works on my skin. Only has one color that doesn't show up at all in terms of color matching my skin, and another one that doesn't actually impart color, that's more of a, like I said earlier, a topper. The quality is typical of their quality. I really love their palettes. Their mattes are actually really good, which, you know, for me is saying something. I don't like mattes. I shouldn't say that. It's not that I don't like mattes. It's that mattes are not my favorite formulation. I like shimmers. I like satins. I like the glittery stuff. So mattes in general are not my favorite formulation. In most palettes, I have issues with mattes. They just do not go on my skin well. They flake. They don't go on with much pigmentation. They just generally don't work. However, Tarte, Violet Voss, Lethal Cosmetics, and HipDot mattes are all excellent mattes, and they all do tend to show up on my skin, as you'll see later. I've used a number of them in the look today. I used this one, and I used this one, and I used her. So I used a number of the mattes today that worked. I used this one even a little bit in my crease. So the quality is really, really good. They are well worth $30. I'm actually considering getting their SpongeBob. I'm not a SpongeBob fan, but the actual palette is beautiful. So I'm actually considering getting yet another palette from them because I've really, really enjoyed their palettes. The only palette that I've had any issues with in the past has been the Legendary. According to them, you don't need to use glitter glue. It's entirely a glitter palette. And I have not been able to get that to work. And I have a middle daughter who uses glitters all the time, and she's had issues with them. But other than that palette, and possibly the other glitter palette that I never bought, their palettes are beautiful, and they have all the quality, and they are very much worth the $30. They're actually worth more than that, I think. I really appreciate the fact that the price for these palettes is actually very reasonable if you think about it for 15 shades. I'm also glad that they don't have some sort of massive 24 or 30 pan palette. They have 15 shades. This is about as much as my ADHD can handle. So the size of these palettes also works very well for me. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get swatching, and then we will do the looks and move on from there. Now, some of these will, like I said, will not show up on my skin. More than likely, this color Sandstone, which I have used under my eyes, isn't going to show up on my arm very well. I have no eye primer on, so they do not show up very well in swatching, but they are very good colors overall. So our first row is Sandstone, Virgin, Canyon, Maze, and Surreal. So there's them on my fingertips. Sandstone, this, don't be worried about it. I actually used it and it worked out very well. Virgin, again, that is more of a topper, as you can see. Canyon, oops, Maze, and Surreal. So that's our first row, kind of messy swatching, but you can see the colors. They're all pretty much showing up. Even Maze is showing up just a little bit, not as well. You know, it's showing up better than most browns do on my skin. This Sandstone actually did show up under my eyes, as you'll see later. And as you can see, you get a nice sheen off this, but not really much color. Particularly when you're applying it to your eye, you get more of the glitter than the actual color when applying this one. So for our next row, we have Wanderlust, Grounded, Angel's Landing, Wild River, and Whisper on my fingers. Wanderlust, Grounded, Angel's Landing, Wild River, and Whisper. This row has some of my favorite colors in the palette, as you can see. The next row has a few too. This is a really nice, this Wild River is a really nice purple. I have a hard time getting these lighter, almost pastel-y purple showing up on my skin. As you can see, this one I have no issue with. Our final row includes, me not being able to read, Sublime, Narrows, Majesty, Mystery, and Vibration. And there they are, my fingers. So we have Sublime, which is beautiful, Narrows, Majesty, Mystery, and Vibration. really cruddy job of swatches. As you can see, the entire palette is gorgeous. It shows up very well. Everything is very pigmented. Yeah, it's beautiful. And a lot of it is mattes, and really surprised me when I picked it up. It's like, okay, yeah, I picked up another thing with a bunch of mattes, and I'm going to end up not liking it as much. But in the end, those mattes actually really work on my skin using a damp cloth. As you can see, they stain, which indicates that they should hang out on your eyes a little bit better. 1/3 wipe, just scrubbing it away. And there we go, got rid of them. So actually, some of them are still hanging out. So they are fairly pigmented. They're going to be fairly long lasting. They do stand up to my eyes issues to a degree. I do have to patch. Like most mattes, the mattes don't patch well, but the shimmers do, which is one of the reasons they go on the inner corner of my eye. I think I mentioned it later. But yes, the mattes don't stand up as well as the shimmers, but the shimmers do stand up fairly well, which is really, really nice. And when they fade off, I can just go ahead and repair them, and they repair fairly well as well. They are not Violet Voss or Lethal Cosmetics quality in terms of that. However, the fact that they do that at their price point is really nice. The only other one that really does that well at that price point is ColourPop, and again, it's more the shimmers that actually work for me in that regard. So there's our palette, and let's take a look at some of our looks. So some of these I picked. This was not a hard palette to use this month. It was, I can't say it's the most difficult palette to use by itself, but it also wasn't the easiest. So I do have a number of combination looks in here, but I think it really worked well on its own and as a support palette or as a palette with support. So this is a good, versatile, all-around palette in that manner, in that way, that the looks that I'm about to show you are only, I actually have twice as many as I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you 4. And so this palette was just really, really easy to reach for and use in that regard. So this first look is the first look I made with this palette. It's completely the Zion palette. It was also based on our image that I'll be showing you, just like this one was. The two looks do have quite a few differences, but in general, this was completely this palette. I did do something lighter around the base of the eye towards my lash line, and of course at the top. I did use a bit more of the oranges in here, the more red. I went less purple, and I went a little less dark in the crease, although I did use some purple on the crease, as you'll see. Anyway, enough bumbling around. Here's that look. So with this next look, I actually used it with another palette. I used it with the Colored Rain Lovelies palette. It's this miniature palette. And I went a bit more orangey on the Zion colors, and then used the Colored Rain palette to get the deeper red and the deeper blue primarily to get this look. And here is that. So this final look, I actually used our Zion as a support palette for another palette. And the reason for that is, even though this was easy to reach for and easy to use, as you saw in the previous 3 looks, it was also hard to get a huge variety of looks. They're all towards the reddish, orangish, you know, neutral tones. You can throw in the purples to get something a little bit more. You can add a little bit of the gold in there, but in general you're going to end up with something that's more towards a neutralish, yeah, reddish but neutralish type look. So I wanted to do something a little different with it, and here I paired it with the Just Peachy Cosmetics Juicy Fruit palette, and I primarily use the Juicy Fruit for the lid, and I use the Zion for the crease, and then I use both the Zion and the Juicy Fruit for underneath the brow. And here is that look. So overall, as you'll notice, there was a lot of reds and purples, and you do get those more neutral tones. But for someone like me who can't use brown for neutral tones, this kind of red purpley palette is something that actually really works for me as more of a neutral palette, because it actually shows up on my skin. And how many more times can I say actually? I will say, however, that while I picked this palette based off my inspiration image this month, I don't think the palette quite did the image justice. This is one of those rare times when I needed a black or a gray with my palette, and I didn't have one, and I needed something more towards a true toned red, like taking this one to a true tone dark red. However, that said, I do believe it worked very well with our Amy Brown image, which was the Red Queen, and here is that image. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the pairing that I did this last month. I'm pretty happy with the way that I was able to continue to use this palette. I expect I will continue to use it in the future. I do like the palette. So if you want to see how we got today's look, and here is today's look, a little bit easier for you to see. As you can see, it's a little more dark. I went for darker colors, more in the reds, more in the purples. I did use a little bit of the light on top. If you want to see how we got today's look, just keep watching, because that's coming up right now. So I've taken a look at the palette, and I've taken a look at our picture. I have done one based on this before. Let's see what we can come up with this time, though. But I've tried to come up with an idea of what I'm going to do, so we're not so bumbly this time. And we are going to get started with this color Sandstone underneath my brow. I'm using new brushes today. These were my birthday brushes from my son. I have not used many mattes. I'm sure I mentioned this in the intro. But we're getting that lighter color. And as always, I've got cat hair. I've got one of our cats. One of our cats just likes to sit over here. All right, so that's under the brow. And then we're going to grab some of this color Wild River, and we're going to put that in the crease and buff it upwards. In fact, I'm going to use a fluffier brush to do that, because I do not want it to take over that golden brown. So we're going to use this crease brush that is from Royal and Langnickel. This is from that new set. And we're going to start in the crease, go across the crease, and move up. We're just trying to add a little bit here. Like I said, we don't want to take over, and it's going to be gone over in a little bit, but I want a little bit showing up above my crease and blending into that sandstone. So next, I'm taking this mini flat smudger, and I'm grabbing some of this color Sublime. That's going to go into my inner corner, and then we are going to move to this one for along the outer corner. So let's start there. The colors are very similar. One's just a shimmer and the other one's a matte. We're going to take this about a third of the way in. And a lot of the reason I do that is, well, you know, I like shimmers. For one, I swear, nobody's dying. I like shimmers for one, and for the other, they seem to do better in terms of staying on my eyes and for being repaired. For some reason, the mattes just get really muddy when I have to repair them if my eyes start losing their losing the color. So I stick with shimmers on the inner corner for the most part. Okay, I'm going to use the same brush and grab that color Majesty right there, and I'm going to put that across the rest of my lid. So she's a matte. And as you can see, she's practically the same color. She's just not got the shimmery stuff in it. Which makes her easy to blend in. You can see these mattes and these colors are just, they're pigmented, they're blendable, they're packable. You can build them up. You can actually put them down in a soft way, although I never do much on soft colors. But they're very, very beautiful. This is a beautiful formula. So now, before I actually do my crease, I'm going to grab this angled shader. It's a little on the big side, but it'll work for what we want. I'm going to take this color Virgin, and I'm going to sort of put it across the middle to get some brightness in the middle of my eye. This is more of a topper shade. It doesn't have a whole lot of color on its own. It just adds a little bit of shine and lightness and glitter. Which is all we're looking for right now. It's just some brightness in the middle of the eye. Bit of a slight difference and a bit of a glimmer, that's all. So I'm taking a different brush today for a moment. I'm going to take my e.l.f. This is what I normally use for in my crease anyway. And I am going to grab this color Whisper, and I'm going to go into my crease and do my little point. And we are going to end up deepening her up with Vibration, this brown down here, because we don't have a black or really dark brown, so we'll be blackish brown, reddish blackish brown. So we'll be using the Vibration to take that place of that. Anyway, just doing the usual up, across, just above my crease, all the way in, and then from where my brow starts to go down, going outwards to make that little point area that I like to do. And I'm actually going to take this purple in a little bit on the edge. I usually do that with the darker color, but I think I'm just going to do it with this one right now. You all should be amazed. I've actually used these particular mattes a few times over the month because the colors are just amazing. There we go. I swear, these neighbor kids have no consideration. So I'm going to take this smudger brush. She's got a smaller point than the other one that I'd used, and take that color Vibration and go in the crease to deepen her up just a little bit. And he didn't shut up. He's back. Oh God. We're just deepening her up. As you can see, I cannot, it's not going to give me that deep dark blacker color. I might throw in a little bit red in a minute, but let us finish up with this Vibration color. So I'm going to take the rest of, I'm going to go do the other side. And then I think I'm going to, I think I might throw in a little bit of the color that we used earlier, Majesty, and see if we can deepen that up a bit. And if not, we might throw in Surreal just to, if we're going to be too light, we might as well go all the way with that. But let's finish up this, and then we'll come back and try throwing some of the Majesty in on top of that and see what happens. Okay, so grabbing some of that Majesty first, I'm going to throw that over it and see what happens. Not a whole lot. She didn't really change the color. Didn't deepen it or anything. So, I'm going to go ahead and grab Surreal. We ain't going to be deep. We might as well be surreal. Just add a little bit of shine. I know, some people say, don't put shine in your crease. But I put shine everywhere. So I believe rules are made to be broken, and you do what makes you happy. But anyway, that actually worked out really nicely, layering those three together over that purple. I think I got it nice and deep, and we're looking almost like we have a bit of a cut crease. Just a little bit. All right, gonna finish the other eye and I'll be right back. So we don't have too much in the way of lighter colors, and I need to do something underneath my eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this color, Angel's Landing. We do have some areas, they're not really light, they're not really orangey, but they're closer to this color. Yeah, they're closer to this color, but we've already used this under the brow. I don't generally use colors like this underneath my eyes. So we're going to go ahead and try this Angel's Landing all across the bottom of my lower lash line. And then we're going to go ahead and take that color Whisper and put it on the outer part. So I'm grabbing some of this Angel's Landing, and that's going to go across the bottom of my eyes all the way. Just like that. We are going to have to do a little bit of cleanup. No surprise. As you can see, they go on just so easy. All right, with the same brush, I'm grabbing some of that dark purple Whisper, and I'm putting that about halfway all the way across. That actually made a very interesting color combination. I like that. So we do have to do some cleanup with this. It does have fallout, especially some of the shimmery shades. There's a little bit of kickback in the pan, but other than the shimmery glitter, the really shimmery glitter, it doesn't tend to stick. Brushing it off is easy. It doesn't tend to stick. Anyway, we're done with the eyes. I'm going to go finish up my face, and then we will be back for final thoughts. Alrighty, so overall, I am really happy with the look. Here is a close-up with my hair in the way. Hopefully you can see all that. Lifting my face up a bit so you can hopefully see the colors better. As you can see, even the matte showed up. The brown did deepen things up. Didn't really darken it as much as I had hoped, but it did deepen things up. I did add a little bit of the Ofra and Madison Miller Sea Shimmer highlighter in the inner corner. I have had to repair it once so far if I was going to go out with it. The good news is I think that this would be a sturdy palette. It's got a good magnet to help keep it closed, and because of the way the mirror sets up, it'd be really easy to use it to go out. It is a bit large, so if you have a smaller purse, it won't fit in that, obviously, but it would fit in my backpack type purse quite easily, and I'm pretty sure that it would work just fine that way. I should have kept the sleeve. But I've been taking the sleeves off lately. I had one of my daughters say, why do you keep the sleeves? Well, you know, if I go out with any of these palettes, I do know I need to repair my eyes, and I need a palette that I can keep closed. So in the future, I should keep the sleeves, because if I ever go out and I'm wearing makeup, I will have to take care of that. But without it, I'm not overly worried. I do have to actually put some effort into getting it to open. The size might be a bit much for some people, but for me, this is a good palette that would travel fairly well. And it even has a magnet to keep the stand closed while it's in transit as well. So overall, it's a good package. It's a bit large, but it's a good packaging for that. And like I said, it repairs well. So this will probably last a good 2 or 3 hours. And then I would have to go back and repair it again. Overall, I I'm as happy with this as I am with both of my other HipDot palettes. The only thing that makes it a little different is the color story, so this one will probably not get used as much on, say, days when I'm not filming. When I'm filming, I do pick up specific things most of the time to make sure that I'm using certain things so I can show you those things. I am trying to, at least for the 1 month palettes, I am trying to get palettes that are not limited edition and not already out of stock or whatever. So this palette's out there, but on other days I am trying to use my limited edition stuff, which has nothing to do with this. But anyway, moving right along. The palette is good quality. As you can see, the colors work even on me. When I have issues with most neutral palettes, the purples are beautiful. The whole thing is just actually, I think it's a gorgeous palette. I think it's worth it, especially if you're looking for a neutral that's not brown. There's so many brown palettes out there. And it seems like lately that's all we're seeing again. I mean, even the Christmas releases are coming out now, and there are a lot of brown palettes. So if you want a neutral-ish palette-ish with a little bit of extra color that isn't going to be too bright, I think the Zion would be perfect for you. The quality is good. The price is, I think, perfect for it. And I absolutely love this palette. I really do. So that is our September palette, which means it's now time to introduce our October palette. Now, I don't usually show the image for the inspiration. This image had greens and purples in it. Shouldn't be that hard for me to find, but it actually was a little difficult for me to find. And then I started thinking about it, and I realized that I had a palette that I just got that kind of fit the bill, had a bit more colors in it than just green and purple. However, it's not going to match our image that well. I did have a toss-up between it and another palette, but the other palette I believe was limited edition and is gone. So I went with the one that I think is still available. Now, when I looked on the website, it's sold out, but it does have a little thing where you can sign up to find out when it's available again. And that is the Sugarpill Fun Size Mini Color Palette. I just recently opened this. I wanted to get it out. Hopefully, if it is limited edition, I've gotten it out, and they are going to restock, and hopefully you will have a chance to get it in the next month if you're interested in it. It is more of the pastel-y colors. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works on my skin, especially for this next month. And it was not actually my first choice for this month, but the image that I picked out, this was more for something like this, and these 4 colors here are more appropriate to that image, but like I said, it has some extra ones. It's a very cute palette. It was not very expensive. It allows you to try the Sugarpill formula for not a huge price. And yeah, it's a beautiful little palette. It's a cute little palette. I love the kitty on the front. So that's our palette for October, and hopefully I will be able to reach for this and enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed the Zion. Anyway, so that is it for the day, and I hope you like what you've seen. And if you do like what you've seen and you're not subscribed, I hope you will subscribe. If you choose to subscribe, I hope you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Currently upload 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I do have bonus videos, like when I open this one up, because bonus videos are generally indie brand openings and occasional mail call openings when I get just one package or something like that. So we have those. For those of you waiting on my son, we do not know what's going on with the Loot Crate. It did not ship, as far as we know, when it said it was supposed to ship, his last Loot Crate. And his dad got him a TV this month. So he won't be getting him another subscription box until next month. So you may end up having to wait another month to a month and a half before you see him again, but you will see him again. Honest, his dad's we've already discussed a couple of boxes for him to look at. Anyway, so that is our bonus videos, and if you're interested in any of those, you will need to have your bell rung so you'll get notified. If you're part of my notification squad, you'll want to check both your bell and your subscription to make sure they're both still active. If you choose not to subscribe, well, I'd be sad. I'd be very unhappy. However, you are always welcome back here again because we enjoy having the company. And if you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. I love the hearts on here. Okay, so we've sat here for another 30 minutes, give or take. I actually learned my lesson, I hope. We'll see in the future. And I didn't start this tea until I was actually ready to get going. Usually I was starting it early, but anyway, let's give her a sip and see how she's come. I did add a little bit more sugar, but I am not holding my breath that this is going to be, you know, an amazing cup of tea, unfortunately. So far, she just is disappointing me. Here we go. The added sugar helped, however, I think the lemon is too strong. There's a bit of a bitterness in there. Yeah, for me, this particular mix with or without the lemon just doesn't work, which is really sad because I love the name Tea Kitten. What can I say? I love the name Tea Kitten. Not one I would even consider repurchasing, unfortunately. Anyway, that is it. I hope you all have a great day.